up everyone? So today's movie I'm going to be discussing on the channel is the new horror film from Michael Mohan called Immaculate, which stars Sydney Sweeney as Sister Cecilia, a young American woman who is a devout nun who uproots her life in America to go join a new convent in Italy, but when she gets settled into a new home, she realizes that this convent she's joined is full of dark and horrific secrets. I saw this film the other night, not knowing too much about it before I went into it, but a horror movie where Sydney Sweeney plays a nun sounded like it would be fun. I wasn't expecting too much from it, but bloody hell, this was one of the goriest horror movies I've seen in some time. It's one of those movies where after it finished, I needed to sit through the credits just to gather myself and absorb everything that I just watched. The ending of this film packs a wallop, and it's bound to be polarizing. Not everyone's gonna like it. Some people will leave this film feeling violated, and others will leave feeling impressed by the gumption of having an ending like this, okay? It takes balls to do what this film does in its final few minutes. As I was doing the research for this film, I discovered that Immaculate was actually a passion project for the actress Sydney Sweeney herself. She's a producer of this film. Apparently, she auditioned for the role back in like 2014, but the project never really got off the ground. And then what happened was she reached out to the writer some years later, and with the success of her fame from Euphoria and The White Lotus, she managed to entice enough investors into financing the film, and she found a director. Then she sold the movie to Neon. And bear in mind, Sydney Sweeney is only like 26 years old. I mean, talk about getting the job done yourself. Immaculate is one of those films where I don't want to go into too much detail about it because even the plot is kind of a spoiler in itself. It's definitely a less you know the better before you watch it type of movie, but this movie is not going to be for everyone. I can tell you that. If you're squeamish or not a fan of body horror or gore, or if you're easily offended, then yeah, avoid this film, okay? It's not for you. But if you are a fan of that stuff, then yeah, Immaculate is a movie you'll probably enjoy. And there is a lot to admire about this film. The performances are strong. Like, Sydney Sweeney is terrific as Sister Cecilia. She takes you on a journey throughout this film, and I don't want to say too much, but let's just say her character has her own little crisis of faith, you might say. But yeah, where she starts off in the film is very different to where she ends up, okay? Her character is put through the ringer, but Sydney Sweeney sells it all so convincingly. At the very least, this role has made her a bona fide final girl and scream queen. And alongside Sydney Sweeney, there's another White Lotus alumni in the cast. You've got Simona Tabasco in this. She played the feisty prostitute Lucia in season 2 of The White Lotus, but in Immaculate, she plays a feisty nun called Sister Mary, who's very outspoken and is kind of the voice of reason. Yeah, she was great in this too. Same as Álvaro Norte, who played Father Sal. There was a lot of layers to his character. He did a great job, and he may have even dethroned Andrew Scott for the title of Hot Priest. Whew, I've been a bad boy father. The cinematography by Alicia Christian was excellent. This is a beautifully shot movie, and a lot of the spooky atmosphere comes from Christian cinematography. They really make the use of the environment of the convent and using like the candlelight for the lighting in certain sequences. It's very chilling. Will Bates' score was also very impressive. Maybe it's the Catholic upbringing that I had, but I've always found choirs singing in churches a little bit sinister. Like, there's just something about heavenly voices singing in Latin, which it sounds quite creepy and menacing. But yeah, Bates really taps into that. He utilizes that to again add to that spooky atmosphere. He did a very good job. And I also have to give props to director Michael Mohan for his hold no punches approach to the gore. Like, he holds nothing back with this. There are so many moments in this film where the body horror is so pulpy and visceral and splattery. The last third of this film is a joyride of blood-soaked carnage. It was definitely my favorite segment of the film. I also want to give him props for making a 90-minute movie, okay? It's a lost art form these days. And yeah, there isn't like an ounce of fat on this film's runtime. I mean, you can argue the first 2/3 are a little bit of a slow burn, but I do think it's worth it for the payoff in the final third. I did have some issues with the horror in the first 2/3 of the film because there's an over-reliance on, predictable jump scares, and there's like a couple of dream sequences which are just big old cop-outs. Also, what the film has to say about religion and how it tries to convey its message to the audience is just so heavy-handed. Like, it's just bludgeoned over your head numerous times throughout the film that love is suffering, love is suffering, love is suffering. It gets repeated so much, okay? We get it. But yeah, there's nothing subtle or nuanced about what this film is trying to say about religion. All right, let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? You know what, I think I would. I don't think it's like a top tier horror film, but I did enjoy the ride, so yeah, I could watch this again. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? This one is strictly for devout horror fans. If you're a fan of films like The Omen or Rosemary's Baby, then you're probably going to love this. I was also getting a little bit of The Descent in the final act of this film, so if you like that film, yeah, you'll probably enjoy this. I will say, watch it with a crowd if you can, because I was hearing people going, ew, and like all around me throughout, and it just added another level of immersion to the experience. So yeah, do watch it in a cinema if you can. And third question, what score to give out of 10? Immaculate is a solid horror with a fantastic performance from Sydney Sweeney. Again, I don't think it quite reaches greatness. It's a little heavy-handed in its message, but I did enjoy myself, so I'm gonna give Immaculate a score of 6.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. Love to hear from you. Are you excited for Immaculate? Have you seen it? If you have, what do you think of this movie? What do you think of Sydney Sweeney's performance? Whatever you have to say, let me know in that comment section down below. If you have enjoyed the video, help me out with a little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.